let's go to the phone line because I'm pretty much hoping this is the star of the night, the one, the only. Miss Lita Ford, is this you?
It is. Good guess.
How about that? How are you doing?
I'm rocking, man. I'm rocking. I'm doing great.
That's awesome. Hey, real quick before I even get into the interview, I'm just saying, I met you. Let's see if you remember this. I know you're not going to remember meeting me, but the situation. Early 90s, I'm going to say maybe like 92, 93, you did an in-store guitar thing for BC Rich at the Philadelphia Music Company in Philly.
Oh, wow. I do. I remember. There's actual YouTube clips out. If you Google it, you can find it.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah,
Wow.
I remember it very well.
No kidding.
Very cool.
I remember, like, oh, my God, yeah, Lita Ford. I'm going to finally meet Lita Ford. And then when I met you, I was like, oh, my Lord, she's so tiny. I couldn't believe how small you were.
A lot of people say that. It depends on if I'm wearing my stiletto heels or not. If I'm in my flat shoes, then I'm tiny. If I'm in my big shoes and got tall, long legs, then I tower over everybody. But I'm really only 5'5", so I'm not very tall.
Oh, well, I'm not tall. You see, I don't know. You seemed very short to me. Anyway.
I'm little. You know, we're just average size, I guess. You know, the supermodels are what, 6'10"? I'm sorry, 5'10", 5'7", something like that. You have to be at least that high to be a supermodel. So I'm just under the supermodel height.
There you go.
Unless I'm wearing my stilettos.
and then you reach that supermodel height.
Yeah.
There you go. Now here's a funny thing. Before I even started doing this show like a year and a half ago, I naturally I watched the Runaways movie, and all I kept thinking to myself is, if I ever had the chance to interview Lita Ford, the number one question I want to ask before I even get into the rest of your career is, what did you think of the way they portrayed you in that movie?
Oh, wow. Well, first of all, I haven't seen the movie.
Really?
Yeah. It's kind of, for me, it's one of those things that you don't know can't hurt you. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I kind of want to leave it that way because I know they didn't portray me accurately. According to a lot of my fans, I've heard that I'm just a bitch in the film.
Yeah.
And I'm not. I mean, in the Runaways, I was demanding because I wanted to know things about the shows, the contracts, the money, what's going on. Somebody please tell me. You know, don't hide it from me because I'm a kid. I want to know what's going on. And a lot of the people involved with the Runaways didn't feel the same as I did, so they didn't always see things in the same light, and it was always a fight for me. But and I was the one that would get angry and say, you know, we just sold out 4 nights at the Whiskey. How come there isn't more than $200 in my pocket? I need to know this. And I would ask. So I was the one that was always told to shut up and, you know, don't listen to Lita, and she's just a bitch. But all I did was ask questions. And I'm Italian.
Very nice. There you go. That's something I didn't know about you. How about that?
Yeah.
So
my mother.
Since you're Italian, is it sauce or gravy?
Is it what?
Sauce or gravy?
Sauce or gravy? Oh, it's sauce.
Okay.
It's a sauce.
In Philly, it's gravy. How about that?
That's funny. I never thought about it before, but yeah, you're right. You know, the Italians, they have to have their sauce.
Their sauce.
And which sauce would you like? The white sauce or the red sauce?
The red sauce. The red sauce, which is...
just had white sauce. I just had the marinara. I'm not the marinara, the white one. What's the white one called?
The Alfredo?
The Alfredo, the fattening one.
Yes. I know that very well.
Literally just ate a plate of it.
That's awesome. It's funny because we had Cherie on a few months ago, and I asked her. I said, "What were your feelings about with Lita back then?" I said, because in the movie, that's how she was portrayed, like a bitch, and I just don't see that. And she's like, she really wasn't, but I was scared of her. That's what she kept saying. She goes, "I was really scared of Lita when we were kids."
Well, I was on a mission, and I wanted to play guitar. I was on a mission to do my job, and I wanted to progress in the music industry, and I didn't want to play games. I didn't want people showing up late or people stoned or people falling over or anything like that. I took my job really seriously, and I wanted to progress in the music industry, and whenever I got the runaround from either a manager or one of the band members, it would upset me, and I would tell them exactly how I felt, and some of them didn't always like it, and even Kim Fowley admitted at one point that he was afraid of me, but I never really hurt anybody. I told them how I felt.
Bad feedback.
Feedback.
Yeah, right? Okay. Sorry about that.
That's a good sign.
Now, the thing that, too, amazes me, you guys are just teenagers. What was, your parents feeling? You guys going out and touring and doing all this?
My parents, wow, they were so supportive. My mother, with her thick Italian accent, she had this really heavy-duty Italian accent, and she would say, "Oh, Lita, the Black Sabbath riff you play is so nice. You play it again. play me some Alice Cooper and the Judas Priest." She wanted to hear it. She was my biggest fan. And my father would show up at all the concerts with his six-pack of Coors beer and throw up the heavy metal horns. They were awesome. They were just so supportive of me.
That's really awesome.
Great. Never questioned why I came home at 4 o'clock in the morning smelling of, cigarettes and alcohol. They would never question it. They were great. Never got, where have you been? What have you been doing? Who are you with? And it would get to the point where I would call my dad and say, "Dad, I can't drive. Come and get me." And he would say, "Well, where are you?" And I would say, "Well, I'm about an hour and a half north of you in Hollywood somewhere. Can you come and get me?" And he would show up, never ask any questions.
Wow.
Really amazing.
Yeah,
amazing
you wouldn't be doing that today.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
I know. Yeah. Well, I think some parents would. It just, I think, growing up as a kid in the music industry and having a supportive family really gives you a lot of self-confidence for later on in life. When you are standing on stage by yourself, you have that self-confidence from your family, and they're the ones that either make you or break you.
Right. That's the truth. That is the truth. Now, how about after the Runaways broke up? What was your plans? Did you want to go solo immediately, or try to start a whole new band, or?
I wanted to go solo. I did look for a lead singer because I wasn't a lead singer. I was a lead guitar player. I came out of the Runaways. I was 20 when I came out of the Runaways. I was still a kid, really.
Sure.
And I hadn't learned how to be a lead singer. So my first thing was, okay, first of all, how do I get people's attention? How do I do something that's different than everybody else? And one of my biggest heroes was Jimi Hendrix. I thought, what if I put together a female Jimi Hendrix,
nice.
fronted by a chick on guitar, and just a rhythm section, bass and drums. That gives the audience nobody else to look at. Nobody else is going to point the finger at the other guy playing guitar in the band and say, well, that's him playing all the riffs and that's him playing all the solos. I didn't give anybody an option. There was nobody else to look at.
Right.
And even though I was still the only chick in the band that played lead guitar and was the lead singer, I still got questioned. People thought there were guys hiding behind the curtains or standing off to the side of the stage. It was ridiculous.
That's crazy. You know what, too? Like, even say if you wanted to like start another girl band, it's not like the girls were that. I mean, it was like the Runaways, and then like girls in like hard rock like just died off after that. I mean, there was you, and there was Joan doing the separate thing, but she was more commercialized. But it just seemed like there was like not a very big influx of women in hard rock like there is today. I mean, to me, it's like today they're starting to dominate.
Yeah, it seems like it, doesn't it? It really does. There's so many different female artists out there, and they all are original in their own way. You know, there's cellists and violinists and you know, these brilliant lead singers, and it's really cool to see. And I feel like the Runaways were the ones that carved that path. And we were the ones that got out and did the dirty work. You know, we were the ones out there with a hatchet chopping down trees, carving that path. Now the path is paved. Now you can go ahead and walk it. And a lot of people are. Very cool.
Yeah, it is cool. Now, were you like still based out of L.A. when you decided to go solo?
Yes. The Runaways broke up, and I went home to Mom and Dad's. Although I still had an apartment in Hollywood, I would go back and forth between Mom and Dad's and my apartment in Hollywood. And I had a little warehouse that I had rented, and I used to set up my amps, my guitars, and I set up a PA system. And I went in there and taught myself how to sing and play at the same time. I took vocal lessons because I really wasn't quite sure how to sing. You know, guitar came natural to me. It was sort of a godsend. And I was able to play pretty much anything when I was 13. But lead singing was not something that came natural, and I had to develop my own style. So I had to teach it to myself. And the only way to do that is just to get in a room and blast it out. You can't do it singing in the shower.
Or singing in front of the mirror.
No. Well, that helps sometimes, you know. It helps you get the looks down, which is a big part.
Yeah,
you got to look good doing it.
That was my whole, like, I was able, like, I thought I looked good doing it. I had all the movements down and all that, but I just didn't have nothing else to go with it. Like, I would have the hair sky high and all that, but I had no talent. Like, I still have a wall of guitars that are there. They're a wall of guitars. I don't pick them up or nothing anymore.
Oh, God, I'd love to see them.
Well, let's see. I have two old Ibanez Icemans. I have a BC Rich, I forget what the hell it's called. Oh, a Wave. Sparkle Epiphone Les Paul. A Rhodes Epiphone V. And here a BC Rich Eagle. That's a replica of the Paul Stanley one from the Creatures in the Night tour.
Oh, my God. Nice.
I'm a big BC Rich fan.
Very cool.
Now, I'm also a huge Randy Rhoads fan, and whenever I have somebody like yourself on, I got to ask them, like, being out in L.A. in the club scene, did you get to see Randy play in the clubs with Quiet Riot?
Oh, God. Yeah. You know, growing up in the streets of Hollywood, you get to see all these wonderful artists play and grow up with them. Quiet Riot, Rat, Motley Crue, Van Halen.
Right.
You know, they all come from Hollywood, and we did literally grow up together. You know, it's
right.
just one big family. Very exciting.
I mean, it is pretty amazing too. Like when you list like the people like that and yourself. I mean, it's like a lot of iconic people from that era, and you all grew up together. I mean, it's pretty amazing.
Yeah, it's great. And Hollywood, it isn't what it used to be, unfortunately. Those of us that are still around, like Slash, you know, and Glenn Hughes and Shree, and, you know, we're all still here, but a lot of us aren't anymore, unfortunately, like Randy Rhoads.
Yeah.
And they're missed by a lot of people, not just the fans, but the musicians that grew up with them.
Right. We
miss them. But I don't know. The rock scene is a mystery right now because it's one of those things that's teetering on the edge of extinction, and I don't want to let it die. And then you've got people that are fighting to keep it alive, and you know, you've got the Eddie Trunks and various artists that are out there trying to keep rock and roll alive, and the fans want it. They don't want it to go away. They want to hear real rock and roll.
Yeah.
You know, and you look at the Grammys, and what are they doing on the Grammys? What is that? That's not the Grammys anymore.
No. Why do you think it is like this? Like, and especially like in Philadelphia. I mean, we're a mainstream market here. And it seems like, and I'll be the first to admit it, and I've said this for years, like the Philadelphia rock and roll market, it's dead. And you can see by like a lot of bands that will, they'll play in Maryland and they'll play in New York or they'll play North Jersey, and it's like they skip right over Philly because when they play here, 9 out of 10 times, like nobody shows up. It's just a dead market, and I don't understand why.
Yeah, it's that way in a lot of places. It's very difficult. I just think our younger generation is growing up on a different style of music, and those of us that are still alive in the rock scene are being raised by our parents that were in the rock scene in the 80s and the 70s, you know, in the early 90s. Alice in Chains is pretty much where everything left off.
Right.
And then grunge kicked in, and everything changed. But I think the parents of the kids that came from that era are teaching our kids, you know, this is what rock and roll is. And these kids want to play guitar. They want to play drums. They don't want to sit behind a computer.
Right.
They want to play they want to be the real deal. So you never know what the future holds. Our next generation may be rockers.
It seems that way, too, because there's a lot of these, you know, ever since the School of Rock movie, there's a lot of these rock schools around the country, and there's a band that's based out of New York, and they're called Gifford's Lane. And I saw them last year. They're 11, 12, and 13 years old. And I saw them at an arena football game opening for Quiet Riot at the Wells Fargo Center, which, you know, holds 20,000 people. And they were playing, and I was like, oh, my Lord. I was blown away. And then I seeked them out, and I had them on the show because I was just so blown away by these kids. It's amazing that, you know, these little kids are just so talented today.
Yeah, they really are. They're so smart. You know, they're a step ahead of where we were when we were teenagers.
Sure.
They really are. But I think that, I don't know, I hope they come back, and I hope we have a next generation of rockers and not a lot of this electronical stuff that's going on.
And how about like in like Europe? Like Europe, it's still big. And actually, we had your ex-husband on last week, Chris Holmes, and he's going to move to Europe next month. He was saying because that's where the rock scene is.
Yeah. Yeah. I actually spoke with them last night. It's so funny you should bring that up. And they were mentioning that they may go back to Europe, and what do I think? And it's Chris is doing what's good for him personally.
Sure.
And not just the music scene in general, because there's still a lot of people in the U.S. that want to hear rock and roll, and that are grateful that there still is rock and roll out here. But there's a lot of up and coming bands that are rocking out there, and
right.
I just hope that we can keep them alive and make our next generation rock.
Is there any of the new bands out there today that you like or listen to?
Let's see. God, not really. I mean, I know. I hate to say that, but
I'll say one for you.
Okay.
Hailstorm.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I just truly think she is amazing. I think she has the best voice in rock today.
She's got a great voice, definitely, but I don't know how much she plays on guitar. I think she plays some rhythm, which is great, kind of like a Joan Jett.
Mhm.
Which is great. She's definitely
she reminds
a powerful
me of,
vocalist.
She reminds me of Tom Kiefer.
Oh yeah, I think they did a song together, didn't they?
They've done some live stuff together. Yeah, they didn't do no recordings, but they've done like duets of Nobody's Fool and stuff.
It just seems like there isn't anything she can't sing.
Yeah.
She just nails it. And she did Close My Eyes Forever.
Right, yeah. Did you like that version of it, or?
I did. I think when you do a cover tune, you need to own it. You need to make it yours and not try to be the artist that originally recorded it. For instance, I just did a copy of a cover of The Bitch Is Back. I mean, there's no way I'm going to sound like Elton John, but I wanted to do the song because the song fit. And we did our own version of that song, and we just added more guitars and less piano. So we owned the song. I mean, you listen to the song, and it's a whole different animal compared to the version that Elton John did. And I think that's what they did with Close My Eyes Forever. And they gave it their own twist and their own style, and it works for them. They did a great job.
See, I don't like it. I'm just gonna be honest. I don't like it. And you know what? I think personally it's because of David Draymond. There's something about that guy with his singing. Everything sounds the same to me with him. I don't know. That's just my opinion.
Not real familiar with their music, to tell you the truth.
Yeah.
Disturbed,
okay.
Right?
Yeah. And now he's got his new band, Device, and it basically sounds
Device,
like almost.
That's them.
Yeah, like a techno version of Disturbed.
Yeah, that's I'm not real familiar with Device.
Yeah.
That's a little foreign to me. But that's a technic stuff. I don't know. What do you call it? But that's what they did with Close My Eyes Forever, and you know, they owned it. They did their version of it, whether you like it or not. You know, some people did, some people didn't.
Sure.
And I guess that's what you have to do in order to do a cover song. But I was honored that they chose my song. That was nice.
That's such an incredible song. I mean, how did that whole thing come about with you and Ozzy getting together with that? Was that because of working with Sharon, or?
Well, kinda, yeah. Ozzy and I were piddling around one day. They came to the studio where I was recording, Ozzy and Sharon, and I just bought a new house, and Ozzy came in with this housewarming present, which was a life-size duplicate of Coco the gorilla from the San Diego Zoo. And he came in, we started having some wine, and we were playing pool, and Sharon got bored and left. And Ozzy and I continued playing pool and having some more wine. And I said, Ozzy, come over here in this little side room where we had a guitar, an amplifier, little vocal mic set up. And we ended up writing Close My Eyes Forever. And the next morning, the sun was coming up. We came out of this little room, and the sun was coming up, and I looked at him, and I said, oh, no, the sun's coming up. And he goes, oh, God, how am I going to get home? He's going to drive me. And I said, I can't drive. I've had too much wine. I said, you're going to have to take a cab, dude. So he gets in a cab, and he drives home over Laurel Canyon, which is this windy, uphill, windy road, and then straight downhill, windy road. And he gets home, and I get in my Jeep with Coco the gorilla strapped into the front seat of my car, and I drive home praying to God I don't get pulled over because I'm reeking of alcohol, and I've got a gorilla strapped in the front seat of my car given to me by Ozzy Osbourne. And I thought, Jesus, God, don't let the police pull me over. And I made it home because I lived pretty close to the studio, and I made it home safe, and I get a phone call from Sharon, and she was so mad at me because I'd kept Ozzy out all night, and he was drunk off his ass, and so was I, and we had a great time, but we had this killer song written, done, ready to go, and we ended up recording it soon after that with Mike Chapman. And it became a top 10 hit single in the U.S. So it was a godsend of a song.
So then Sharon was okay with it afterwards then?
Yeah.
How was it working with Sharon? I mean, she gets like such a bad rap for being like a dictator almost.
Well, she's very good at her job. Uh-oh.
Oops.
Dropped the phone. She's very good at her job, and she doesn't take any crap from anybody. And I think, people try to pull the once over on her, and it isn't going to work.
Yeah.
She's not going to have it. Her father was Don Arden,
mm-hmm.
who was the guy that used to hang people out windows by their toes for money.
Wow.
That's her father, who is my ex-manager as well.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And I left Don Arden and went with Sharon. It was pretty weird. But they're both great managers, and they were both great people. Sharon is just great. She's great at what she does. She doesn't need to manage any other artists. She's got Ozzy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So she was good. And when she managed me, it was at a time in their marriage where things weren't going so well for them.
Right.
And it started to affect my career because I couldn't get her on the phone half the time. She was too busy arguing or trying to wake Ozzy up off the floor or something like that, It was pretty funny. But it had a short lifespan. Our working together and her managing me had a short lifespan, about a couple years during the Lita album.
That was huge years for you.
Yeah, it really was. Really was. But I've got great managers now. I'm very happy with them.
Cool.
And they're not going anywhere, and neither am I.
That's what I want to hear.
Yeah.
How did it feel? How did it feel to be considered basically the sex symbol of the metal scene of the '80s? I mean, you've got to realize you were probably like on every heavy metal guy's wall in the '80s.
It's funny because I look back on those days and I think guys come up to me and they tell me all the time, Lita, we had your poster on our wall, and And I would go to bed at night with your poster and, play with myself, and I would say, oh, well, thank you. I mean, how do you respond to something like that, Well, thank you very much.
Thank you is the best answer.
Thank you for making a mess of my poster.
Did you buy another one?
Yeah, right. Did you stock up on Lita posters? Did you have it covered in plastic? I don't know, but it was cool. I mean, somebody had to do it, and I just feel blessed. I feel honored, and I feel happy to have been that person.
That's awesome. As I was going back, and today I was going through and searching YouTube and looking at stuff and going back through the Lita Ford era in life, and I came across when you were on That Metal Show. I guess it was like the first episode. And the one thing that really struck me with that interview that you did with them, you seemed very, very humbled by the whole, just being back and getting back into music and all. You just seemed very humbled by the whole situation.
Yeah, I was, because my welcome back to the music scene was humbling. When we played Rocklahoma, it was my first show that we did from coming back into the music scene, and Rocklahoma was huge. There's so many people at that show. I don't know, 40,000 people or something insane.
Right.
And there was this vibe backstage that somebody was there from a higher ground, like a higher level, some kind of god or legend or something. And I was walking around backstage, and I was thinking, wow, I wonder who's here. I don't even know who's here. And I went up to one of the promoters, and I said, what's the buzz? I said, what's everybody so excited about? I said, who's here that everybody's so excited about? And this woman promoter looks at me, and she says, Lita, it's you. And I thought, oh, wow.
That's awesome.
That's awesome. I mean, ever since that moment, I just felt this overwhelming response from the fans and giving me a welcome back from the music industry, people that I've worked with in the past that are still in the music industry and still going strong. And that metal show, that was their first show. That was their pilot that they did. And I was the one that helped them with their pilot, and I felt like their good luck charm. And
that's awesome.
Eddie Trunk said to me, "You're my good luck charm." Ever since then, that's what he's called me, and it's humbling. It can't be anything else less. When I walked out to speak to Eddie Trunk and Jim Florentine and the guys, I got a standing ovation from the crowd that was there at the filming, and it's wonderful.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's funny. Like I was even telling my co-host Nick before you came on, I said, when I first announced that you were going to be coming on the show, like on my personal Facebook page, I had such a reaction from people, and it was like a lot of people who, I've known since like back in high school and stuff like that, and I've known like back in high school, like they weren't into the hard rock scene or nothing, or the metal scene, and a lot of people were just like, oh my Lord, Lita Ford, yeah, that's awesome, I love Lita, and I was kind of taken back, like wow, like Lita is like a mainstream name that everybody loves.
That's killer. That's killer. Well, I never really burnt any bridges. Thank God. I didn't piss off too many people. And those that, I did have the opportunity to jam with, tour with, work with, I remember them, and I remember them in a loving way, and it goes back to 1975. The Runaways are the youngest of the living legends. I am the youngest of the living legends. Except for, unfortunately, Sandy. We lost our drummer, Sandy, to cancer.
Yeah.
But the rest of us, we're still going strong and rocking out. We got a jump start on everybody.
And actually, it was just the other night, I saw the video of you and Slash and Cherie on stage doing Cherry Bomb.
Yeah.
At the Whiskey.
That was awesome.
Yeah. Now, first off, did you see there was a picture floating around Facebook, as a matter of fact, and it was a picture of you and Cherie from 75 on stage, and then the picture from you guys the other night, and it was like the same exact pose you guys were doing. It was pretty cool.
I saw that. My bass player put that together, Marty O'Brien.
Okay.
He put that together because he had both photographs, and he compared them after the show. He compared the two photographs, and he thought, holy crap, what's changed in this picture? Other than a little bit more peroxide in the hair, I don't think anything's changed. So he posted the two together, and now it's just gone viral.
Yeah. Which
is great. I'm thrilled.
It's awesome.
Cherie looks
really
great.
Is.
She's just, to have her back in my life, it was so emotional having her on stage. Looking at her, she was in tears, and
awesome.
it was a really emotional night. She walked out in the middle of Living Like a Runaway, and she started the second verse because I didn't feel that she needed an introduction, and neither did Slash.
Right.
I thought, why do I need to introduce you guys? Let's just set it up so you guys just come on stage. And during Living Like a Runaway, which is the title track of the last album I wrote, studio album, she comes on stage. She just walks out for the second verse, and she started singing, I remember when we were 17, riding in the back of a black limousine. And I just went, wow, how cool is this?
Oh, that's
Cherie's
awesome.
Singing Living Like a Runaway, and my mama says, run, baby, run. We're singing it together, and it got really emotional. And then at the end of Living Like a Runaway, I say to Cherie, Cherie Curry, what are you doing here? And she says, well, I came here to sing Cherry Bomb with my friend Slash. And Slash walks out on stage, and they start Cherry Bomb, because Slash was a big Runaways fan.
That's awesome.
Hey, guys,
I just want to let you guys know we have Joe on the line, and he has a question for Lita as well.
Cool.
Hey, Joe, you're on the line.
Thank you. Lita, how you doing?
Hi, Joe.
Great. I've always been a big fan, but I love that song you did with Ozzy years and years ago. You think anything like that will ever happen again?
Something like that could possibly happen again, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Interesting.
What about recording? You going to record with anybody else, like Slash or anybody?
Of course.
Okay.
Of course. I've got a really awesome album started for 2014, and I think it's going to blow some minds.
Great. I look forward to it.
Yeah, I'm sorry I can't give it away, but I got an awesome album started.
Well, I'll be looking for it, and good luck. Rock on.
Thank you. Awesome. Thanks,
Jeff.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Jeff.
Now, you're saying all the emotions with you guys on stage. When is Joan going to finally join you guys on stage?
That's a question only Joan can answer. I invited her to the Whiskey. I told her I'd buy her an airline ticket and a hotel room and take care of all her incidentals if she got on stage and sang half a song with me and Cherie. Wow. And in return, I got an email from her manager saying that she would come to the show, but she would not get on stage.
Oh, come on.
So why? I don't know. Maybe she wasn't feeling well. I don't know. I did get a bottle of champagne, though.
Well,
that was pretty cool. Thank you, Joan.
There you go. There's my new mission. I'm going to get hold of Joan, and I'm going to get this together. Somebody's got to do this. I'll sit her down and I'll talk to her. I'll get this. You know, it's funny. She actually she was born and she grew up in like the same town I did when she was before she went out to L.A. Yeah, she was in Lansdowne, PA.
Oh man,
that's funny.
That'd be awesome if you could get that going. That'd be so cool. I think
my
the
new
world
mission.
would thank you.
You know, something else, when I saw that video with Slash and Cherie getting on stage with you, you said before you wanted your guitar from the Runaways. Now, is that the actual Explorer you played in the Runaways?
It is. Yeah.
You know, that is friggin' awesome, because right when I saw that, I said to myself, that's the cool thing with Lita Ford. Like, you have all, like, you know, the Explorer, all your BC Riches through the 80s, and you still played them. And, like, I get emotional when I see things like that, because I think to myself, how cool are those guitars that have been through so much? And if they could, like, write a book themselves or tell stories, how incredible it would be.
Yeah. Yeah. Actually, when I pulled out the guitar at rehearsal, Slash looked at it and he said, "Is that the original?" And I said, "Yes." And he said, "Oh, man," he said, you're the only person I ever thought an Explorer looked really cool on. You know, it just never looked right on anybody else other than you. I thought, awesome, Slash. Thank you. That's a great compliment coming from him.
Oh, that's awesome. Now, you had like a busy year last year with recordings. You had your Living Like a Runaway album out, which is incredible.
Thank you.
This, as a matter of fact, I got to bring it up too. The song, not just the song "Mother" and the video, but the whole album. It's like you truly went deep into yourself, and it's a very emotional album.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. I was going through a divorce at the time when I wrote it, and emotions were flying heavy. A lot of anger, a lot of aggression. My kids were alienated from me by the father. They still are. After all this time, I still have had no connection with my children. And I wanted to write them a song, and that's exactly what was happening to me at the time. I wrote Mother. Now, I wanted them to know that they're being lied to, and this is something that I support 100%. Is parental. It's called parental alienation, and those of you who know what it is know how devastating it is, and those of you who have never heard of it couldn't even begin to imagine what it is. But it's a form of child abuse, and it's mental child abuse. It's where one parent uses the child as a weapon to hurt the other parent. And they do that by either lying to the child or taking the child away. So it hurts the other parent because they can't see their kids.
Sure.
And all it really does is hurts the kids. It destroys the kids. It's brainwashing.
Yeah.
Because it's just lies. And Mother is about parental alienation, which is a website that I have you can go on and look at.
Oh, wow.
Lita Ford Parental Alienation Awareness.
Wow.
But
it's
that's Mother.
I mean, you can hear like the emotion, and I mean the lyrics are just pretty. It's very deep. It's a beautiful song too.
Thank you. Thanks. It's pretty gut wrenching. It's hard to listen to. You know, it makes a grown man cry for sure.
Now, do you perform that when you play live, or?
I have performed it. It's a great acoustic song. We've played it a few times, and I think we'll probably be playing it again in the future. It kind of goes with Lisa, because Lisa was written about my mother.
Right.
And I wrote Lisa 3 months before my mother passed away. She was diagnosed with breast cancer.
Okay.
And I wanted to give her a gift before she passed away so she could see it. And sometimes artists will write a song for a person that they've lost after they've lost them, and the person never gets to see the video or hear the song because they're gone. Right. This time I thought, I don't want to do this. I want her to see the song, hear the song, see the video, and be a part of it. So in the Lisa video, what I did is I took some old footage that my father shot when I was 4 years old. We lived in London, and my father shot this film on 8mm film. We took this footage and we reincorporated it into the Lisa video. So the little girl in the Lisa video is really me with my mother, playing with my mother. And
awesome.
She used to take that video to get chemotherapy, and the doctors would say, "Oh no, here comes Lisa again with that video," because she would watch it while she was having chemotherapy. She would watch it, but it turns out that song is one of the most largest hits. It gets the most hits off of most of the songs that I've written because a lot of people can relate to it. You know, it has great guitar solos in it and screaming guitar solos. It's just it's come full circle with Mother.
Yeah, I definitely can see, and actually when you listen to them, too, that's exactly what I was thinking too. Like I thought back to the Lisa song, and I was like, yeah, you know, again. And that's the best music, though, is when it comes from the heart and the emotion. And that's what the music I truly love, because I can hear it, and you can hear it when you're singing. You can hear it in the voice, and that's what makes it so beautiful.
Sometimes you have to hit rock bottom before you can get up and kick ass again. You know what I mean? In many different ways. Ass. Absolutely.
The bitch is back, right?
Absolutely.
Which
absolutely.
That was your live album you put out last year, The Bitch Is Back, and I got a bone to pick with you because my two Lita Ford favorite songs were not on there.
Uh-oh.
Gotta Let Go and Dress to Kill.
I knew you were going to say that. Okay. And?
Dress to Kill.
Well, I tell you what. We'll add Dress to Kill to the set.
There you go.
Okay, just for you.
I appreciate that. You know, it's funny. We had a Bumblefoot on a few months back, and when he was talking about it, when he got to go out on tour with you, that's the first thing I said to him. I said, "Dude, did you get to play Gotta Let Go and Dress to Kill with Lita?" And he's like, "We did Gotta Let Go. We didn't do Dress to Kill." I was like, "Oh."
So what we'll do is, what happened, honestly, I'm going to tell you the truth. What happened was when we did the live album, something broke on the drums, and it broke during Gotta Let Go. And when we went back to the recording, we couldn't fix it. We tried and tried and tried, and we couldn't fix it. So we just ended up editing out Gotta Let Go. And that's why it's not on the live album. But Dress to Kill is a song that I would love to play live. It rocks, and I've been thinking about adding it to the set lately. So
you have to
consider it done now because of this interview.
Nice.
See, the inspiration and impact you have on us. Now you got to call Joan.
See, that's my next mission. You know, it's funny because, you know, there's certain songs that no matter how many times you listen to, you just don't get tired of them. And those two songs, and going back to, you know, the mid-'80s, I could listen to them day in and day out and still love them just as much as I did 30 years ago.
It's such a fun song, and it's got Tony Iommi in the beginning.
Yes.
Where he says, "You're dressed to kill." It's so funny. And then everybody's getting dressed up to go out. That's a really cute video.
Yeah.
Rockin' song, though. It's a blast to play live.
That's
yeah.
Awesome. Yeah.
Okay.
Now you got to come to
Done.
Philly so you can play it.
I will.
I hope so.
Will.
Now, how about now that you're back on the music scene? Oh, well, actually, so I'll plug this too. You had Christmas time. You put out a Christmas song with Cherie.
Yeah. That was rocking.
It was awesome. I was like, when she told us about it, I was like, Christmas song, okay. And then I heard it, I was like, wow, it's actually pretty freaking good.
It rocks. It rocks, and at the same time, it's got a little bit of a Christmassy vibe in the chorus. We overlapped the vocals on the chorus. So Cherie sings one line, and then I sing one line. Cherie sings one line, I sing one line. It's kind of like row, row, row your boat gently down the street, and then the other vocal comes in, the row, row, row your boat, and they overlap. And then we added some Christmas bells and some chimes and some angels on the keyboard pads, and it just had this beautiful sound on the chorus. And then it goes into this rockin' riff on the verse, almost like Aerosmith. I forgot the name of the damn song. Take me back to South Tallahassee. Yeah. I can't remember the damn name of the song.
Right.
But we know the song.
Yes.
Down around the corner to my sweet sassafras. It's kind of a play on words, you know. It was a fun play on words. And the song worked. And at the time we were recording that, Cherie called me, and she says, hey, Lita, what's going on? You know, I'm just flying in from Chicago, and my flight lands about 3 o'clock, and what are you doing? And I said, we're going into the studio to record a Christmas song. I said, why don't you come from the studio, straight from the airport, come from the airport straight to the studio and throw down a lead vocal. And she said, well, I don't know the song. And I said, don't worry about it. You'll learn it when you get here. I can teach it to you. It's easy. And she came over, and she threw down a lead vocal and nailed it. It was awesome. I drove home that night and just so proud.
That's friggin' great.
A brand new Christmas song. So if we figure at least once a year it's going to get heard.
Yeah, there you go. Now, well, here's a question too. Like, now that you're back on the music scene, things are so different now. Like we talked about, not only with like the fans and stuff like that, but the world of music and the music business and the recording with the digital era now upon us. What are your feelings about the world of like iTunes and stuff like that?
Well,
that says it all.
I don't know. I think the music industry is a lot like a lot of other jobs, and it's taken away, and it's become electronic. And we're the people. We're the people. We're the jobs for the people. You know, give us back our instruments, whether it be a guitar or whether it be a cash register. You know, give us back our instruments and let us have our jobs back.
Right.
I don't want to hear electronic. Electronics are meant for music. It's not what's in the Bible.
Right.
It's not right. It's just, I don't know. This is my belief. You know, I'm old school. I believe in real instruments. Instruments are instruments. Computers are computers.
Well, how about somebody like Dave Grohl, who, you know, with the Foo Fighters' last album, he went back old school, and you know, he had the board from Sound City and did a completely analog. I mean, it was just friggin' amazing.
Yeah, and what a difference in sound. It's just like the old automobiles that they used to make compared to the new automobiles. The old ones are so big and beefy, and strong, and you could ram them into anything and you're okay. And today you get crushed in a new car and it's like being in a beer can.
Yeah.
You know, you're screwed. It's just cheap and fragile, and I think a lot of the music kind of goes along with everything else in the world here in 2014. Hopefully we bring back our rock and roll, and I think the Foo Fighters, they've got the right idea for sure.
Yeah.
That was awesome. Bought the board. I know
guys.
the board.
Did you ever record there at Sound City?
Oh, yeah. Well,
yeah.
My manager has an office in one of the studios, Electric Sound. It's in Sound City.
Wow. Yeah, Dave Grohl, he's the man. He's just freaking amazing, that guy.
Yeah, he's very intelligent. Very intelligent.
You never would have thought that looking at him back in their Nirvana days.
Yeah, I know. It's weird. It's almost like he was a wannabe. You know,
yeah.
He was a wannabe metaler or heavy metal musician, and now he is.
Right.
That's okay.
Yeah, works for me.
You know, I've got a lot of great people coming up who are going to be on this next album, and I'm hoping that it'll help bring back some of that real, true rock and roll that people want and our younger musicians want. You know, the very last gig we did, which was about 4 or 5 days ago, I brought up on stage 2 little kids, and I don't know what compelled me to do this, but it was Kiss Me Deadly, and I brought up a 9-year-old girl and an 11-year-old boy, and I gave the 9-year-old girl the microphone, and I strapped on my Stoli guitar on the 11-year-old boy and just stood there looking at him, and she goes, "Okay, everybody, let's rock!" And she's screaming in this microphone, this little 9-year-old girl. I'm on my knees because I'm so much taller than she was, you know, being 5'5" and everything.
Yeah.
So I got down on my knees, and she held the microphone for me while I sang the verses, and she sang the choruses to Kiss Me Deadly, and the little boy helped chime in. It was awesome. Oh, my God. The parents were losing their minds.
That's
it was
cool.
great. It'll come out soon. We've got pictures.
Now, the new album that you're working on, is it going to be something like what Slash has done in the past, where he has like a lot of different singers and stuff like that on it, or?
Not quite. No, not to that extreme, because Slash is not a singer himself.
Right.
I think he did that for that reason, and he was able to pick and choose musicians to be lead singers that suited each song that he wrote.
Right.
Which I will probably have some vocalists on my album, but they won't be different singers for each song. You know what I mean? There'll be guest appearances, but
right.
Not on a Slash level.
But you know, going over to like today's whatever you want to call it, top 40 or hip hop or whatever that music genre you want to define it as, that's all they do. Like they have and it's all the top names in the business where they're all appearing on each other's songs. Every song is like a Pitbull featuring this one, or Eminem featuring this one. It's like every song is like that. I mean, why can't you do that? You know what I mean? Why can't?
Well, I could.
Yeah,
I could, and I actually wrote a song recently that is a duet, and I have a person in mind that I want to sing it with. I don't want to give it away, but hopefully
you can give it away. I won't stop you.
Hopefully it'll happen. So it is a duet. It's rock and riffy, pretty nasty song.
Nice.
Yeah.
Now, with a duet, like, I mean, going back to Close My Eyes Forever, when you're performing live, how does that happen? Like, who do you sing it with? I mean, actually, I saw you probably the last time you were in Philly, maybe. You did it with Queensryche. You got on stage with a few songs with them, and then you did a duet with Jeff Tate.
Oh, that was great. Jeff really did a great job on that song.
Yeah.
He's got a great voice, too. Well, the other night I did it with Glenn Hughes.
Okay.
He came out and sang the hell out of it. Oh, my God. The people were crying in the audience. Wow. Grown heavy metal rocking guys were in full-blown tears. It was amazing.
That's awesome.
It was amazing. It was just, I couldn't believe it. But I don't know. I sometimes what I do is I get the audience to sing.
Okay.
If there's nobody else there to sing it, and if
right.
there's a celebrity at the gig and they're the right person to sing the song, I'll drag them out on stage.
Right.
And we sing it together. Dee Snider sang it before.
Cool.
He does a great job on it. And then I've got Jeff Tate singing it, Glenn Hughes. I did one with Ron Keel on
nice.
The Monsters of Rock cruise we did in 2013. Last year we did the Monsters of Rock with Keel. And Ron Keel has always been one of my favorite singers, but he's very, very underrated.
Yes.
You know, he never really got that lucky break in the music industry, and people don't realize what a great vocalist he is. And one time I went to go see him play at a club when Black Sabbath was looking for a new lead singer.
Okay.
And Ron Keel was one guy they were looking at. And
wow.
Recently, Ron had started his own radio show, and I did a radio interview with Ron Keel. And when the radio show was over, he stopped the tapes rolling, and he said, "Lita, I got to ask you a personal question." And I said, "What's that, Ron?" And he said, "What happened when you and Tony Iommi came to see me play?" He said, "I never heard back from anybody in the Black Sabbath camp." And I said, "You're kidding me." I said, "Nobody ever called you to tell you that you didn't get the gig?" But anyway, it has been eating away at him all these years.
Wow.
That he never heard back from anybody in the Black Sabbath camp. So when we did the Monsters of Rock cruise, I asked him to come up and sing Ozzy's part on Close My Eyes Forever, and it meant the world to him. And he sang hell out of it. He sang it so well. You got to Google it. It's sick.
Yeah, he's got an amazing voice. I saw Keel. They played a free concert in Philly. I guess it was '85, on the back of a flatbed truck down in the middle of Center City in Philly.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
Yeah. And that's the only time I think they might have even have played Philly. It was right when the Right to Rock just came out.
Well, I've always loved his voice, and I remember him from that day when we went to go see him for Sabbath, and I never knew that the Sabbath camp never got back to him, and he had been just left hanging all these years. I mean, this was right before Dio did Heaven and Hell.
Oh, wow.
1982? 83, 82, something like that, 84,
so,
I don't know, somewhere in there.
I guess that's when he was playing with Yngwie then?
Keel, yeah. He must have been.
So, all right, so what did Tony think of him? Are you going to leave us hanging, too?
Well, I think it was an off night for Tony, and honestly, he didn't really pay that much attention. although I did, it wasn't really my decision
Right.
to make. You know, it wasn't my band, and I just kept my mouth shut.
Right.
And at the time, maybe Ron was not the right person. Maybe Ronnie Dio was.
Yeah.
Because he was a little older. His vocal style fit in better.
Right.
And at the time, Ron Keel was just a kid.
Yeah.
You know, and maybe he wasn't the right guy. I don't know. But they still should have gave him a call back and said, "Hey, thanks, dude. Sorry, but we're going to pass."
It's weird that, I guess, like how many people have tried out for different bands. Like when we talked to Chris Holmes last week, and he said he had tried out for Ozzy when Randy got the gig. I was blown away. Like I never heard that before. It's like wow.
Wow. I'm just trying to envision that.
Yeah. Well, that's what he said you would never be able to picture Ozzy picking me up on stage, right?
Oh God. Well, I had to a few times.
You had to pick up Ozzy or pick up Chris? Or both?
Chris. Yeah, right. No, Chris is a great guy. He's a great guy, and I still love him dearly. And he's awesome on stage. You know, in the early Wasp days, he was a monster on stage.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know if I could see him in Ozzy's band.
Nah.
And he's
I can't either. I just met Chris actually last year. At I think you've even been there at the Chiller Theater Convention in Jersey. I think you've done them too.
The guitar theater. It's like a bunch of guitar players did it was the Capitol Theater in Jersey.
No, well, Chiller Theater is like a horror convention thing.
Oh yeah. We do those all the time. They're a blast. I love those. Yeah,
because Chris was at, I guess last year he was at one of them, and I got to meet him and I was talking to him, and he's huge. And I had my wife and my two young daughters with me, and my older daughter, she's 16, and she was just like, what is this guy? I mean, she was really scared, and I was getting my picture with Chris, and he's like, come on, get in the picture. And he just grabbed her and pulled her in the picture, and she was like, oh my Lord, who is this guy?
Yeah, he's a little scary. He can be, but he's a sweetheart. He's got a great big heart. He's a good guy. He's a good player. And I don't know. I don't think the music industry's treated him too kind. I think they've been pretty cruel to him. Yeah. But I'm going to interview him for my book, and I want him to set himself straight in my book. I want him to tell the music industry what he thinks. Nice. And I'm going to tell the music industry what I think, because there's certain things I know that nobody else knows about Chris, and we're going to set it straight in the book.
Cool. Now, have you started working on the book, or?
Yeah. It's with HarperCollins. It's
nice.
Marissa Matteo is the co-author. She's got 2 #1 bestsellers with HarperCollins.
Wow.
And we're having a good time. It's been fun. We've been digging up all kinds of dirt. Do you remember the time when you did this? Do you remember who was there and what they said? Oh my God, did I really do that? Yes, you did, Lita. Okay, awesome. Put it in the book. You know, there's some good stuff coming out.
Do you have like a release date set on that yet, or?
Well, the delivery date is March, so we have to deliver the book to HarperCollins in March.
Okay.
And what they do with it, I hope it gets released by the fall.
Okay. Wow. That's
awesome. I don't want to wait that long, but.
Yeah, you would think now in this day and age where, you can record an album and get it all situated and done and out yourself now in no time. You'd think they would do that with a book as well.
It's a big production. You know, there's a lot of research that goes into it, and photographs and titles and artwork and delivery dates. You know, and the HarperCollins has to be able to have a clear calendar. Like they can't have 18 other projects that they're delivering on the same day as yours. You know, they have, it has to be scheduled and timed properly. There's a lot that goes into it.
There's a whole science to it.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, we'll have to get you back on when the book's getting ready to come out.
Oh, definitely. We're going to do a book tour, autograph signing book tour. We'll be all doing the local television shows and talk shows and all that stuff. I've got so much to say. Got to get it out there.
Now, are you going to be doing any touring this year, or?
Yeah, actually we are. Jesus, somebody just canceled in Bogota, Colombia.
Oh, wow.
We just did 3 shows, 2 in California, 1 in Las Vegas. Those were our first shows of the year. And we've gotten all kinds of dates that have come up in just the last few days.
Nice.
All over the U.S. and South America.
I think you're playing M3, right? Down in Maryland?
Yes.
Actually, I think that's my birthday, too, actually, when you're playing. I know it's the weekend of my birthday is when that show is.
It's on my Facebook. Let me pull it up real quick. I know Extreme's on there. Kix. I know Kix is a big Maryland band.
They're like saints of Maryland.
Yeah. So they're the headliners, of course, because it's their town.
Yeah.
And you got to give them that. And let's see. I'm just pulling it up.
Okay.
Want to see what the shows are. God damn it. Where is it? There it is, M3. I can't see it. It's so tiny. Jan 17? June 17. I can't see it.
Let me see here.
That doesn't sound right. The print is so stupid. Oh, here it is. Okay. Yeah, 2-day tickets, Friday, January 17th. It can't be. That doesn't sound right. April 26th. Here it is. Oh, the tickets go on sale January 17th, which is tomorrow. Yeah, I got a show tomorrow in Maryland. That's why I'm sitting on my ass right now. No, it's M3, Kix, Extreme, Lita Ford, Winger, Tesla, Night Ranger, Sebastian Bach, Queensryche, Slaughter, Stryper, LA Guns, Jack Russell's Great White, Keel, Autographs, Femme Fatale, Red Dragon, John Corabi, Heaven's Edge. And that
Philly
is
boys.
Saturday, April 26th in Colombia.
Okay. Yeah, it's 2 nights. There's the 25th and 26th.
Yes.
I'm not sure which night you're playing.
Friday the 26th. No, we're the 25th. Sorry.
Yeah,
we're the 25th, and then Tesla
so
has the headline.
If I come there, that's my birthday. I want to hear Dress to Kill. That's my birthday present.
Okay. You're on.
Okay.
You're on.
I'll keep in touch
hysterical.
with that. That's awesome.
You are on. I promise you we'll play it.
That's great. Wow. This has been a lot of fun. This has been a lot of fun and truly been an honor to talk to you tonight, Lita.
Well, thank you. Thank you. For me, too.
This has been awesome. Hey, before I let you go, though, can I get you to cut a quick ID and just say, this is Lita Ford, and you're listening to Totally Driven Radio?
Absolutely. You ready?
I'm ready. Go for it.
This is Lita Ford, and you are listening to Totally Driven Radio. Kiss me deadly, baby.
Nice. Wow. Thank you so much.
So dramatic.
That's good. It's good to be
Yeah.
dramatic. It's good to have
Absolutely.
emotion. Nice.
Well,
thank you again, and
you.
I wish you a lot of luck with everything, and hope everything works out personally with family and everything, and hope to see you April 25th.
Awesome.
Cool.
Awesome.
Thanks
we'll
so much,
celebrate your
Lita.
birthday.
That'd be awesome.
Bye. Talk to you soon.
Yep. Take care, Lita.
Take care. Bye.
Bye. All right, everybody. There you go. The one, the only Lita effing Ford. Wow. That was friggin' awesome, huh?
Yeah, man, that was a good interview, too. I mean, a decent amount of time we got with her.
Yeah, it was an hour and 15 minutes, yeah. And the scary part is, I bet you we could have did the whole 3 hours with just Lita.
Absolutely.
Oh, that's friggin' awesome. Lita Ford. I'm psyched.
Yeah, man, that's really good, and she was real open and everything. So I mean, you sort of can't, do wrong with interviews like that when they actually want to talk. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And you know what was really like? I don't know if you picked up on it, but if you really listen to like a lot of stuff when you brought up certain stuff, like whether she was talking about like the Runaways and Cherie, or about her kids, or even like about Randy Rhoads, you heard like the emotion in her voice where it actually was upsetting to her, and you almost felt like she was like fighting tears at it. I was like, wow, like this is pretty awesome. But yeah,
oh, that'd be a nice headline. Bay Ragney makes Lita Ford cry only on Totally Driven Radio.
Oh, yeah, no, I don't want to do that.